Go play!
I've been waiting since January to make that joke. From a barren desert to a lush forest, that's an extreme change of setting. The Root of the Problem, a story arc spanning issues 27 and 28 of the main series, takes us deep into the Everfree Forest in order to stop it from attacking Ponyville and potentially all of Equestria. Upon investigation, the main six and Spike come across a young deer named Bramble, who leads them to the hidden kingdom of Thicket, led by his father, King Aspen, and his mother... Oh wait, he doesn't have a mother. I wonder why. Could there have been a tragic accident one cold winter night? Oh, come on, don't tell me you didn't see the similarities. He's a small deer, he's the Prince of a Forest, and even his name seems oddly reminiscent of another cartoon deer that we know of. Anyway, when Bramble, along with another deer named Blackthorn, introduce the ponies to Aspen, the king shows them that there's a huge construction crew cutting down large areas of the forest, and the subsequent expansion of vines and trees into Ponyville was Aspen's retaliation. In an effort to find a peaceful solution, the main six try to convince the head of the operation, Well-to-Do, to halt the construction of his new amusement park. However, being the big, bad, greedy corporate boss that he is, he continues to tear down the precious forest. So it's pretty much Captain Planet meets Hey Arnold the movie. This story arc was a huge seesaw of positives and negatives. For everything about it that I liked, there was something that bothered me. I liked the setting of the story, especially the Kingdom of Thicket, but I wasn't a fan of the preachy environmental message and the cliche big bad businessman villain. I liked the introduction of the deer, which sort of explained why the Everfree Forest operated independent of the ponies' intervention, but I was a little bit bothered by the underlying insistence that the ponies were the bad guys for not being aware of nature. I loved King Aspen's design, but his character was probably one of the biggest problems I had with the issue. Judging from his design, you'd think that he'd be a calm, peaceful, and passive type of character, but you'd be wrong. Don't get me wrong, I can totally understand him being upset and wanting to take action, but why would he take the land of innocent nearby towns instead of, driving Well-to-Do out? Granted, they end up doing that eventually, but that was only after the leadership of the kingdom was handed over to Blackthorn, who proved to be a much better leader than Aspen in just half an issue. Also, why did the entire main six have to be here? Aside from Twilight and maybe Fluttershy, they didn't really do much, and the portrayal of one pony in particular rubbed me the wrong way. Oh, who? Pinkie Pie? You always have something negative to say about her, Sketchy. Actually, I'm not referring to Pinkie Pie. I'm referring to Rarity. Wow, I have something bad to say about Rarity. I'm as shocked as you guys are. I'm not gonna lie, she did have some funny moments, but I really didn't like how she was shown as a pony that just hit on any dude that moved or care about only herself. Is she a flirt? Yes. Can she be self-centered? Absolutely. However, she'd be more aware of the situation at hand than she was here. However, you may take my concerns about Rarity with a grain of salt if you wish, since it's really just a nitpick. Flanderization is an inevitable side effect of having too many characters in one story. And again, for everything I didn't like, there was something that I did like. The Kingdom of Thicket, as well as its inhabitants, were beautifully designed, and the ending was actually quite a relief since I thought this arc would go in the same direction as the good, the bad, and the ponies. There was even a decent explanation as to why Celestia and Luna hadn't received Aspen's pleas for assistance, and why they couldn't take action once it was too late. On top of that, we got some great humor in both the foreground and background, particularly with all the crappy merchandise that Well-to-Do planned to sell once his amusement park was finished. I can't help but think that Cook and Price were taking a jab at Hasbro's less than admirable MLP toys. Lastly, the way Well-to-Do was dealt with was surprising but very satisfying. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. If I had to describe how I felt about this arc, I'd compare it to walking through thorny bushes. There were a couple pricks and scratches, and some were a little painful, but it could have been a lot worse, so I give it a resounding meh. There are a lot of things to like and dislike about this arc, so your mileage may vary depending on who you are. Regardless, I hope the comics don't try to do another political or environmental story arc again. To me, they end up being more trouble than they're worth, and they don't really have as much payoff as the slice of life or adventure type stories that the rest of the MLP media is more well known for. Speaking of which, the next main series issue will pit Cheerilee against her sister, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Wait, Cheerilee has a sister? So, what did you think of the root of the problem? Let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on Tumblr, and consider supporting me on PayPal through commissions or donations. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks. And don't forget,
The power is yours!